Former US President Donald Trump was in court yesterday over alleged hush money payments. He called the prosecution a scam, a witch hunt, and an assault on democracy. Oh, yes, and persecution like never before. Joining me right now is Republican strategist and former chair of the Nevada Republican Party, Amy Tarkanian. Good morning to you, Amy.
Good morning.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. In fact, let's just play, just because it does make me laugh, let's just play that clip again. I watched and listened to Donald Trump as he arrived at court in New York yesterday ahead of the start of the period of picking the jurors for this trial. Let's take a look at this.
This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country.
It's never like Donald Trump to exaggerate, is it, Amy? But is this a political persecution?
There may be a little bit of hint to that, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of evidence the judge allows, because Michael Cohen, who was known as Donald Trump's fixer at the time, actually obtained a line of credit on his home in order to make that alleged hush payment of $130,000 to Stormy Daniels. And not only that, he's also recorded the conversation with Donald Trump about that topic. So if those two hard pieces of evidence are allowed, I think that's going to be extremely interesting. And the fact that the check that was issued right after the election to Michael Cohen for reimbursement was included in the accounting and on his business ledger. So there is definitely something not right with this scenario, and that very well could get him into some hot water. Yeah, but it is right now, according to New York law, a Class E felony, which would possibly allude to probation, maybe 4 years in prison, but this is his first offense, so I don't actually see that happening.
No, I think most of the legal experts are saying it's unlikely to be, if he were convicted, any prison time. But this isn't about sort of someone claiming they gave a wad of cash in an envelope to somebody, and and everyone's denying it, and and he said, she said. There is cold, hard, black and white evidence, in business accounts, and formal documents to show that this money was paid. The question is whether an actual offence wasn't recorded. And the key thing is, it's not illegal, it's not an offence for Donald Trump or Michael Cohen on his behalf to pay $130,000 to former porn star Stormy Daniels. That's entire. They're allowed to give her any money they want. Apparently, this was a payment, it's claimed, in return for her not telling her story ahead of the 2016 presidential election day. Of course, that was the election that he won. And some of the arguments in some part of the case is that this actually may have affected the outcome of the election. I mean, as if anyone thought he wasn't having affairs with porn stars, I think is I would question there. But we've got another porn star apparently also, apparently going to be giving evidence in the trial. But the thing here is, it was the business accounts being falsified is the allegation, and all of that. At the current time, we haven't even got a trial really going ahead. We've got the jury being selected. And we had 96 potential jurors who were brought into court yesterday. And they were asked whether or not they could be impartial. 60 of them basically said no, straight away they couldn't be impartial. Is it possible to find anyone in New York, or indeed anywhere in America, who isn't partial in one way or the other towards or against Donald Trump?
It's going to be extremely difficult, because this particular borough of New York, actually 75% went to Biden in the last election. And you also have to remember that prior to the former president becoming president, that's where he did a lot of business. So he very well may have already upset certain individuals in that industry and rubbed people the wrong way. So I think it's going to be extremely difficult to find an impartial jury. And I think it's going to take some time. And it's interesting because you were discussing earlier, and I've seen some of the footage as well, where the president is complaining about the possibility of not being able to campaign or attend his son's graduation.
Yeah.
But this is a criminal trial. This is not a civil case. And he knows that, and he knows how the rules work. And I know that they have requested that he have that day off to attend his son's graduation. And the judge has not said no. He has actually said, let's see how things go. Let's see how far along we are. Let's see basically if Trump can behave. And as soon as he walks out, what does he do? He starts complaining and moaning already about the judge. So I don't see how he's helping himself.
No, but playing the martyr, we know that plays well with his base. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I think it would be a very foolish decision by the judge to not let him out for things like his son's graduation, because again, that would look like it was vindictive. But as you say, criminal trials, you are expected to be in court for a criminal trial. The timing of this, we know Donald Trump had tried to move all of these trials. This looks like it's going to be the only one of his trials that he's facing where it will actually take place before the November the 5th election. But again, we are in interesting territory in terms of what impact this will have. As you say, he can't go out and campaign. He's going to be stuck in court sort of 4 days a week. Is that going to impact on his ability to not just raise money, but rally his supporters?
No, and I would say if it were you or I or anyone else, then yes, but it's Donald Trump. And as you mentioned, he has capitalized quite successfully on being the victim and rallying people and stirring up emotions, whether if they're correct or incorrect statements that he makes. And so he has plenty of spokespeople to go out there on his behalf. He has a very devoted base that follows all of his mass emails. They follow all of his posts on Truth Social. They get reposted on other social media platforms so people don't miss a word that comes from the former president. So I think he's going to be just fine. And that's why he likes to address the cameras as soon as he walks out of the courtroom. So then that way he can put in his 2 cents. But he's going to have to be real careful because he's already crossed over the lines of the most recent gag order, and they were trying to fine him. The opposing counsel was trying to fine him $1,000 per person that he was attacking that he was told not to, and he just has the toughest time following those.
Well, he does. I mean, again, $1,000 a time, he's not going to be bothered by it. But he's attacking the judge, attacking a prosecutor. The jurors have to remain anonymous.
The daughter of the judge.
The daughter of the judge. I mean, he's even like stuff that you just simply wouldn't get away with in this country. But he could find himself in contempt of court and taken down to the cells if he doesn't watch out.
Sure, he very well could. I mean, he's actually the king of walking the fine line, and so it's quite something to witness. It's discouraging, I think, as an American citizen who really just wants to see justice be served, get in and get out. But he doesn't seem to have a problem with wanting to drag this on.
He doesn't. It's fascinating. And no doubt we'll be talking about this many times with you, Amy Tarkanian, Republican strategist. Thank you for joining us.